I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch. Why would it do that?
I have no idea.
Switch the camera. Go to camera B or something else. Yeah. And then come back, see if it works. No!
As if you didn't check this before.
Man.
Alright.
So what has to happen? Damn it.
We'll
Should I shut that off?
Hey, dear listener, we've returned.
We're here!
We're here, dear listener.
It's not just me by myself, like, setting it up. Oh, Vin and Blurry! Yes, Vin and Blurry have arrived.
Did you say Vin and Blurry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back, you guys. We have another Alliance stream tonight.
Jason Morgan in this bitch.
What's up, Jason? Hell, how you doing? I don't know about this lineup tonight. Too mainstream. I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, when I was doing the title, I'm like, let me put the most mainstream ones like first. And I didn't recognize any of them. Whatever.
I haven't even seen this lineup yet. Shout out to Hell in this bitch.
What's
Neil
up,
Murray
Neil?
in this bitch.
What's
Ben
up,
Bear in
Archero?
this bitch. Archero in this bitch. All right, guys. Song number 1.
Let's do it.
This lineup must be Cryptopsy. Oh God.
The first one, the only one that I was like, maybe is something we've seen before was Primal Fear. But even that I wasn't even sure.
Cryptopsy. Okay, Cryptopsy's in the band. Phobophile, Love of Fear.
Somebody who loves fear. But I don't know if you love like your own fear or you love to see other people afraid.
This is from the True Cult, okay? Because this is an alliance, all right? All right, so here's what they have to say. This selection won our death metal free-for-all. Cryptopsy are a French-Canadian brutal death metal outfit. French-Canadian brutal death metal outfit. Okay. This song in particular is from their landmark album titled None So Vile from 1996. An album which is highly influential in the brutal and technical death metal genres.
Okay, highly influential.
All right.
Have we listened to brutal death before? Brutal death metal?
I'm sure we have.
We just
because
didn't know it was
listened
titled
to
that.
literally thousands of songs. But
Jason, weird thing, my back has been hurting me too. We were doing our planks, and well, of course, Vinny push the time up without informing the rest of us. We were
What
up
do
to
you mean?
what? I thought we were doing 2.5 minutes. And then I said, how much longer? And I thought it was going to be 30 seconds. And he said another minute because he had pushed it up by another 30 seconds. But anyway, my back was killing me. So
What do you mean? Oh, you mean the
plank that Zoe was the only one that was able to hold.
Oh,
with
it's 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
That's all.
Plus 7 rings on the chime thing on the thing.
Which adds another 25 seconds. No wonder it felt so long. Okay,
Yeah.
so I did all right because I never really plank very often. I keep thinking when that next thing happens, that's when I'm going to start doing it.
Yeah.
When the sun is on my face.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Actually,
right.
I do think that will.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You do have an excuse. This camera's beautiful, though. All right, guys, here we go. Song number 1, Cryptopsy. The name of the song is Phobophile. We are Vintage Story. Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, this doesn't sound like death
That's what I was
metal.
thinking.
These lyrics.
So unwise.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay, I have to say sonically,
I am-
not vocally, but what? I
I'm
like the
very
sound of the metal.
Curious to see what you're gonna say. About
I
this.
actually like the sound of like the metal and the speed at which it was being played. But I mean, the vocal style for me, it's too fall. And you know what's okay? I will say I had a bit of pride when it first started because Neil, when you said good luck trying to find the vocals, I'm like, yeah, but we've grown. We've been following vocals for a while. Like when they get difficult, I'm actually pretty good at finding them, but a lot better than I used to be. This one started and I was like, could not make out one single word, not one. But lyrically, no, it didn't feel like a conveyor belt. Actually, that's interesting. But I will say also the content of the lyrics was a little bit like I was like this.
The lyrics were extremely disturbing.
This person, yep.
I don't even know why we have these remotes.
Oh well, it's blocked because yeah, I think we should just leave it because if I start doing it, the camera's gonna fall.
Gotcha.
So he's basically torturing and killing, eating people, and he's like bragging about it. But he's saying he's not even doing it for himself.
Right.
Yeah,
At the end,
well,
since it's his divine right to do that at the very, very end. This is like the last
it's my divine right there.
obfuscation of the authorities with lies and my nature. Availability to charm and be me or whoever they want. I've known all minds by divine right. Okay. Sonically,
Ian.
there were this song, like, first of all, we've listened to literally thousands of songs, and so, like, being shocked or I'd say disturbed or genuinely moved by crazy lyrics, I think I don't know if I prided myself on that, but when I compare, like, when we first heard stuff to now, I feel like I've seen it all. But, like, the way that this guy painted the, in the kitchen with the screaming triple amputee, its completion depends solely on my needs, said amputee stumps are my way of saying thank you for just being you. Its fear tastes better than its limbs.
Yeah, so he likes feeding off of their fear.
So it's interesting because I was listening to Joe Rogan, and and it's funny because Joe Rogan is not a religious person, and so, like, dealing with this alien phenomena from a secular perspective.
You said Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, okay.
Where, well, I don't know how I want to, okay, so there's this incident that happened in Mexico.
Right.
I didn't tell you about this incident
I thought it was
because
the other
it's
one then.
no. I didn't tell you about
recent?
this. I didn't tell you about this incident because it's gruesome and it's terrifying and it's horrible. But there's some dark stuff to this UAP thing. Long story short, this kid's in Mexico, and he was playing around this reservoir that he's not supposed to play around because the mobsters around there used to dump bodies all the time. So this kid is out there playing around this
How old
area.
is this kid?
He's 8, 9. He looks across the gulch and he sees all these vultures on this thing. And he realizes that the whatever the vultures are feasting on is on the other side of the river, and he knows that if he jumps into the river, he's going to be wet, and his parents are going to know that he was in the river, and he's going to get in trouble because you're not supposed to be down there. So this kid takes a bunch of rocks and starts throwing them at the vultures. And when the vultures finally, take off, he's looking across the river at this thing, and it turns out it's a body. And so he freaks out, and he goes, he calls the police, and the people, of course, they're like, well, yeah, that's where the mobsters dump bodies and all that. So all the villages, I mean, this is morbid, but this was kind of like a normal thing that happened. And so they all went to congregate and figure out who in the village died and everything. And so this is a normal thing, and the cops would not let this woman, these people know who it was. And they're like, well, come on. And they're like, well, no. They cordoned the place off. They acted completely different. Well, long story short, one of the cops that worked on that, as he was dying, he released all this stuff. And it's been released and leaked and such. And long story short, the body that they found had perfectly drilled holes in its, like, this is a human body, perfectly drilled holes in its, like, chest. All the organs were extracted, all the blood was extracted, and then there is some sort of nerve that goes into your nervous system that manages pain or whatever. Apparently, that thing lit up like crazy, and the guy died because he was under so much pain from this whatever. So he literally, his body killed itself so as to
Stop the pain,
not whatever.
Wow.
So, long story short, when you look at the lyrics here, it's pretty horrible. If you've ever looked at these, like, cattle mutilation situations, well, this happened to a person. Well, obviously, people went crazy because it was happening to their animals, and it was sort of an inconvenience and an economic, like, oh, this sucks. But when it happened to a person, and it was the same pattern that you saw with the
right, and it didn't follow the pattern of what the mobsters were doing.
People went crazy because they said, "Oh, holy shit! Now these things are coming after us."
Yeah.
So, wow. If you look at the lyrics here, and you think about that incident, it's pretty terrible because it goes in both directions. Terror of morality I draw from the slowly dying damn monsters live behind my eyes. I let them out and people die. And all the grave worms that come after their piece of meat, I give them dead things. The wretched living are mine alone. So it's like, it's a weird thing. He's talking about feeding the maggots. It's almost like killing this person just so they can give the maggots something to eat.
Yeah. I thought when he said, I draw from the, monsters live behind my eyes. I let them out and people die. That part was crazy to me because I love art. And for a long time, I've been sort of fascinated by the art that sort of shows the shadow self, like the demon that's sort of like pulling away from the person, or the person that's pulling away from the demon. I mean, sure. I'm sure it's the person pulling away from the demon. And get rid of that person. I got it. So yeah, I was like, okay, that sort of type of art, like, because I think that we all sort of have this, the part of yourself that you don't like, or there's certain parts of you that you maybe even hate, but this is something different than the shadow self. This is like something like demonic. There is something like supernaturally evil that is going on with this person. And that's why he's talking about when he lets that they live behind his eyes, and what's behind his eyes is within himself and his own mind and his own self. And this thing is like taking over him. And you can tell obviously by the way that he, like what he does, like the way that he comports himself. It's about death and destruction and like the fear, and which is the exact opposite obviously of what there is in God. So I just thought that it was pretty crazy, like hearing like the depths that this demon took this person to
if you look at it,
do this.
Rorschach blotters, my responses to which inspire fear from my lizard side.
Yeah.
The amoral alien speaks. These aren't butterflies. I see a face I'd like to burn. So
he even doesn't like it, but he's
being inhabited with something that he calls a lizard and an alien.
Yeah.
That speaks to him. So,
and he said he wants to burn its face.
It's some sort of serpentine or reptilian entity that is non-physical.
This sounds familiar.
That communicates with him telepathically and inspires him to do the worst things because he feeds on the suffering of human people. Mm. And he said there was a monster behind his eyes, and I agree, because the intelligence that's inspiring that, in the physics of that dimension, the currency, for whatever reason, is the human soul. Meaning, and this is for the good guys and the bad guys. The effect of the human soul, whether it's depression, happiness, anger, fear, whatever, it appears that there are collections of intelligences that somehow feed off of what we consider to be negative emotions. And so, like, for that to be mainstreamed, even at the Joe Rogan level, like they're feeding on our fear or whatever. Obviously, they're trying to find some sort of secular understanding of how that works. You know what I'm saying? Because, but I think that this is real. I think these are real experiences. I think when you see people that do these inexplicably, because I think 99.99% of crime and other things can just be explained by plain human selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are also, and I would even put, you know, genocides in that you don't necessarily need something supernatural to go to that degree. But I do think that there are other sort of crimes that are there only for the sake of the crime itself. Like, it's like, okay, you did all these horrible things to black people, but it makes sense because there's a boon to the economy. Like, it's a horrible way to look at it, but at the same time, like, the transatlantic slave trade makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Because it's promoting something, and it's causing a benefit to a certain group of people. But there are certain crimes that are there for no reason. As a matter of fact, there are certain crimes that cost the criminal more than you would presume the reward would be. And so that's when, you know, the Bible calls it the mystery of iniquity. But there are certain crimes where it's like, yo, why did you do that? Why would you do that? Because there's no benefit to you. There's no nothing. There's, you know, and that's when I think, you know, what people call demonology, oppression, whatever people want to call it. Like I said, because of the whole this UAP thing, space aliens, now, you know, we have a secular category for hostile, non-human intelligent beings that are not necessarily corporeal, that can absolutely influence us to do things positive or negative. Sonically, this song was crazy because it kind of hits you in waves. Like, there was one segment, like in the halfway point of the song, where it was just like waves and waves and waves. It was like they were sending like thousands of soldiers of metal, and like you were not able to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's part of the brutality genre or if it's just this band's crazy skill set. But there were a couple times when it was just waves and waves of metal just hitting you and like unrecoverable. And I was thinking to myself at one point, like, how do you play a song if this is like their discography? Like, if this is normal for this band, I don't know how you get through a set, like physically get through a set and try to express or manifest physically what you're doing with your instrumentation, because
it's
exhausting.
Probably
that sounds exhausting to play live, especially that drummer. That drum, like, that just sounds like impossible to play live. If I was in this band, I'm like, we would have to put this around like 2 ballads. We'd have to like sandwich this around a bunch of really slow songs and shit.
Give your arm a break.
Yeah, because man, it's insane.
Well, I actually think that that's fitting for the song, because when we're talking about like demonic oppression or demonic possession or fear that like drives you, I think that those things are absolutely exhausting. And, you know, like a lot of times, like if, you know, when there's an exorcism or something, the person drops to the ground after because they're so exhausted from that control that being has had them under. So I think that the assault of the music, just like bang, 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 and not giving you any rest, I think was really fitting for how this was. Because although this person is engaging in this, it is still self-destructive, even though they're destroying other people. Because people are made in the image and likeness of God. And so we're not supposed to be given completely over to that darkness. So that way there is no light there. And so that is going to make that person it's just going to suck the life out of them. And I do think that fear is something that when we have fear, we react to fear. Yeah. And I think that if we're talking about dark intelligences or UAPs or whatever, I do think that there is a measure of, if they can get you fearful. I mean, our government controls us through fear a lot. You know, that's how they're able to, get us to make a lot of decisions and sign a lot of, put our votes in a lot of different directions where they want us. They first initiate the fear, get us afraid, and think that the safest way is to go along with what they're saying. So I think, I don't know. It's telling. Anyway.
Yeah, man. Yeah, fear is a very powerful tool that can be used for good or evil. You know, like we're having a debate in our family about this Inuit tradition where they would teach their babies that there's a monster in the lake or the ocean or whatever.
That has big pockets.
That shows up and snatches little children away from their family and pulls them under the ocean, never to be seen again. And of course, there are no personalized beings that actually do that in the anthropomorphic sense that a child thinks of. But how else do you explain the concept of a riptide to a 2-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a debate in our house between us and the kids, and one of our kids said that that's lying. There is no monster. And we were saying, well, it's not lying in the sense of the whole point of communication is to communicate concepts. And so we were saying it's not a lie because the intention is not to deceive.
Right. The intention is to protect
them. The problem is that the child does not have, because the child is so young, it does not have access to enough information wherein the term riptide is in any way intelligible enough to accomplish what we want, which is for you to be old enough to understand what a riptide is. But if you die in a riptide, you will not get old enough to understand what the actual monster truly was.
Right.
And so it's an interesting, that's a concept where the kid should be afraid of being in the water, but not for the reason that he understands currently.
Yeah.
And so my point is, fear, though we think it's always a negative emotion, it is not always a negative emotion if
Deuteronomy 32,
fear is being deployed for the happiness and the safety of the person that you're aiming it at. That's not what's happening in this song. What's happening in this song is fear for fear's sake. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the differences between good fear and bad fear. Good fear is temporary and designed to increase your happiness and your courage, actually. Bad fear is perpetual and eventually has its own telos, meaning fear for the sake of fear itself. And so that's how you can tell the difference between healthy fear and unhealthy fear, godly fear or satanic fear, whatever categories you want to use, because you don't want to say all fear is bad. You don't want to say that because that's not true. Fear is good in small doses. Okay. 9, solid 9. I will say, though, with Dwayne, I understand making the lyrics disturbing. I get that. I understand making it mopey or whatever. But not being able to discern between words in any way, it's like the dude did it on purpose.
I think it is on purpose, though. And I think that, like,
but why go through the trouble of writing lyrics then? Like, I don't have a problem with just saying rah, 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 rah. Like Twist,
because, but that's because,
no words.
Because there is intentionality behind it. And I think that those dark intelligences like what he's saying, like the way that he's saying how he's going to, the way he's going to treat other human beings. I think that's good to them. So, I mean, the part that I'm a little bit confused on is when you're singing those lyrics, like, is he actually saying those words? Because you could not tell.
That's what I'm saying.
He could have done what you just did.
That's my point. It's like, take my word for it. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I meant to say, I promise.
I feel like I would switch one of the lines to be like, fuck you motherfuckers, you falling for this. And keep going with the lyrics. They'd be like,
Vin just needs to train his ears if it's possible. I still gave it a 9. It wasn't going to get anything above that. I gave it a 9 because it was just, I was really, really blown away with the just the waves of sound. That was something I haven't heard in a while.
I just kept thinking how unwise this person was. Because the thing is, like, I don't think that you just wake up one day and this, like, a demon is having to tear people apart. I think you make 1,000,000 decisions or 100 decisions or however many decisions that gets you in that place. And it is a bunch of choices. And then the way, so I was like, this person made a lot of really bad choices and this got really, really dark for them.
You were such a parent. You just made so many bad choices.
We got to stop this right now.
The saints will judge the world. And the saints will judge angels. Like, I want to, like, sit in on one of your sessions. Like, you know, Beelzebub, you just made a lot of bad choices.
Well, no, if it's at the end,
I'm going to be disappointed in you for all eternity because you made a lot of bad decisions.
I hope you go away and think about this.
Shout out to Beelzebub. What did you give it?
It's a weird one because, I mean, the vocal style to me, that's just ridiculous. But again, I do think it fits in with the topic because I think that if you were to ask the demoniac that was cutting himself in the tombs in what book of the Bible is that, Mark?
Yeah, Luke. Yeah.
Luke. I think that when he got cleared of that and you asked him, like, what were you hearing? I bet it was like that, like this loud, he couldn't make sense of it, whatever. So I feel like it all is pretty fitting. It's not my style, not my thing. I will never listen to this again.
Disappointed in you, Lucifer.
Oh, no.
We expected better from you.
What happened? I didn't read it.
Sorry at the judgment.
Oh.
Sorry to say, Lucifer. I expected better of you. I'm so disappointed.
I'm very disappointed in you right now. You could have had so much. Anyway, I'm going to actually give this one, believe it or not, I'm going to give this one a 9.6.
What?
Because I do feel like, okay, I said I don't like it. I'm never going to listen to it again. And I wouldn't recommend this type of music to anybody because I think it's trash. I don't like it.
0.2 above a perfect score.
The reason that I'm giving it that score is because I felt like it was well-rounded in what it was trying to do. Like the lyrics were like this gentleman sucked his way down hell and that is where he is. And then the music wasn't completely trash either. The music had some.
No, the music was incredible.
So yeah,
but. I do kind of resent the, like, take my word for it. I promise you, these burps are actual lyrics. I do have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's still part of that New York City, like, trust nobody, everybody's trying to hustle you type of feeling. Like, no matter what you hear in New York City, you know, it's like, yeah.
Guys,
so that's kind of how I feel when you tell me that you wrote them lyrics. And you really write lyrics. Like, you put that shit in there afterwards.
So we went for an oil change. And when we got the oil change, the guy was like, oh, it was so low. There was like nothing on the dipstick. I was like, I told you we need to get that oil. We need to get that oil change. Oil gets changed. A couple days later, there's something else going on with the vehicle. So I bring it over there to get it checked out. And they tell me, oh, you know, there's nothing reading on the oil on the dipstick. He was like, they drained all that out of there. I was not thinking that at first, although the longer the time goes, the more I'm like, it could be.
Yeah,
Sora's a demoniac secret agent sleeper.
Can't wait to get the hell out of this state, bro. All right.
I know.
I gave it the correct score. I
gave
it the correct score of 9, so I gave it the incorrect score of 9.8. We shall return.
We'll be back.
Sorry's almost as bad as Nick Wright up in here. All right, guys, let's see you on the other side of the break. Let's go. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Buy our merch. It's opposite day. So now Vin is gone and you're left with me. The reviews will be very short. All right, Vinny will be back any second, so have no fear. I want to see if I can drop this for you guys, though. Let me try.
I'm rolling.
Wait.
All right, so I've got my trusty stopwatch, and here they come down the hill. It looks like Ruben is in the lead, and here comes Al. And this...
Oh, jeez.
That was a bad idea. At Riverside Park, Rob Leth, Global News.
Listen for a stopwatch.
You okay? Did you get that?
His trusty stopwatch is going off. The poor man. The poor man! Come on in.
What was that?
It was a, look. Right here.
I'm rolling.
Here.
All right, so I've got my trusty stopwatch, and here they come down the hill. It looks like Ruben is in the lead, and here comes Al. And this... That was a bad idea. At Riverside Park, Rob Leth, Global News.
Listen for his stopwatch goes his trusty stopwatch.
You okay? Did you get that?
Walter, you give that one a 9.5? I give it a bunch.
Hey, brutal. All right, well, we'll transition right into that. Shout out to the homie. Damn. We just got done reviewing a song, dear listener, of these evil beings that were feeding off of the
the pain and suffering.
of human beings.
Babe,
So,
open that door.
yeah, there's that. A lot of that happening. Still.
Let me ask you if you think one of the kids wore my pants.
Damn. When the girls did that, spread out. It's one of my favorite pants.
No,
bro.
these aren't your favorite ones.
I said it's one of them.
Oh.
How you gonna tell me what my favorite pants are?
Because these have been gone for a really long time.
This is what we go through as men. I should create an entire
Well,
channel.
you should scroll up and see what Dwayne said.
Yeah, Dwayne always.
You
feels
commented
that
on
pain.
white women. No, keep going up.
What'd you say, Dwayne?
He said he's never right there.
Sorry, I hated the song and gave it a 9 point. I'll never understand white women. You and me both. All right, song number two. Song number two, dear listener, is from another alliance. This is a night dedicated to them.
Yes.
All right, here we go. This is not Cryptopsy.
Link is in the description of the vehicle if you want to be on the crew of people
in the
that votes for these
description of the
songs.
vehicle, she says.
Vehicle? Video!
Source, Moonlight Sorcery in Coldest Embrace. This is,
Extreme Underground. Shoot, we never announced the last one. Oh, you did.
Yeah, I did. This is Extreme Underground from Kellendross. Now,
Kellendross.
Kellendross understands our situation, so he gave us the official lyric video. So I'm assuming
You missed
then
the first lyric there, you don't care?
it's not going to get us blocked. Here's what
In
Kellendross
Cold
says.
Embrace is the first lyric.
Here's what Kellendross said. Moonlight Sorcery is a Finnish black metal project that released their first album, in September of 2023.
Oh, wow, okay.
Unique in their combination of black metal, symphonic metal, and power metal. This band topped many people's AOTY playlists and ranking in my own top 10 for the year.
That's the album of the year, guys, in case you're wondering.
For this poll, the theme was traditional melodic black metal, which these guys do fit into, though it's a less obvious choice. With this poll, I changed things up a bit and had people nominate full albums. Then we selected the winning track from that album.
Cool, okay.
Like most of this fantastic album, the track combines sections of melodic black metal with very technical sections of blackened power metal.
All right.
That,
Whoops.
dear listener...
I just realized.
What?
I must have made a mistake here. Alternate non-video link, though I didn't think you need to worry about copyright on this
He
video.
says we don't need to worry about copyright. So if Kel says that, we're just going to go ahead and roll the dice. Roll the dice. Here we go.
We're in with you.
That's right. That's right. Sorry is not white. She claimed her 0.000000005% heritage, which is it's X times 5,000.
My cookbook will be out soon enough.
One of our political. Shout out to Elizabeth Warren and her cookbook, her indigenous cookbook. All right, guys, here we go. It's a cookbook to serve man. All right, in coldest embrace, let's go. Not on major labor, let's do it. This sounds epic. song.
Fine.
Be that way.
Oh my gosh, I loved this one.
Okay.
Although his paint looked like a butterfly.
I see what they did there. So this is
wasn't dark enough for me.
The vocalist is a big power metal guy, loves power metal, but he couldn't find anybody in the area to do a power metal band with him. So the black metal band said, "Fine, you do your power metal shit, and then we'll just put cool shit on top of it." And hence this band.
Ah, I see. It makes sense.
There was a lot of power metal that they snuck in there.
Yeah, but it didn't
radar.
feel like that.
I'm not a fan.
Power metal would feel.
Power metal to me, it's very hard to take power metal serious, bro, because it's so glorious and shit. You see what I'm saying? So it's very hard for me.
Glorious.
It's just,
Oh.
the prince and the wizard are gonna fly. Come on, bruh.
Okay, all right.
So like, but this, and then when these guys got heavy, like, like, kind of a basic riff, but I don't care because it was so hard. It was just like, it was just like crazy heavy at that part. That was my, when these guys decided to get heavy, it was crazy. I was expecting to hear some really immersive tremolo picking. I was waiting for some immersive tremolo picking, and unfortunately, it wasn't really there as much as I wanted to. When I hear like symphonic black metal, blah blah blah, I'm immediately thinking, all right, I'm gonna get some beautiful tremolo picking. There was tremolo picking, but definitely the heavy parts were the highlight of the song for me. Usually with black metal, there's a nice little tremolo. There's some nice tremolo phrasing that's really badass. Didn't hear it on this particular song, which is completely fine, I guess. But if you're gonna call it symphonic black metal, then that's what I want to hear. But
it's completely fine, I guess. So I didn't see the lyrics. So let's.
There it is. In the night eye.
No, remember it started out
in
with
the
cold
night
something.
I carried my flame far beyond the sky.
Remember the first lyric? In cold embrace. I knew it was good. The first lyric was good. Okay.
That's not the lyric. That's the title of the song.
It says lyrics. In cold embrace.
What's the title of the song?
I think the title of the song is also the first line. In coldest embrace is the name of the song, and the lyrics say in cold embrace.
All right, there you go. In cold. Joe Biden's asking, why is it called black metal? I didn't see any.
Oh boy.
I didn't see any. You didn't see...
Oh boy.
There were some blacks in the metal. I didn't see any.
Did I show you that last video?
Did you see the video? All right. Carried my flame far beyond the sky. With coldest of light, the star of my eternity shines far beyond. Silver dagger, silver flesh.
My child of Mercury.
Your time has come to finally rise, revealing all faces of the night in places of silent worship and temples of glacial shadows.
Okay, let me just interrupt this to say I loved playing with Mercury as a child, and I knew that you weren't supposed to do it, but, you know, the thermometer breaks.
What do you mean you like playing with Mercury as a child?
Have you ever played with Mercury?
No.
Oh my word. Okay, so it looks like a bubble of metal, but it moves and it slides. You can move it around, you can break it, and it breaks into 5 little balls, and then they come back together. I'll show you a video of it. It's so fun to play with. But they were always like, it's poisonous, you're not supposed to play with it. I was like, fuck that, I'm playing with this. Break the thermometer accidentally.
That explains a lot.
It's all making sense now. All right. Revealing all the faces of the night in places of silent worship, in temples of glacial shadows, in shrines of old, in frost and cold, tombs lay still, woods forlorn. Okay. I'm not sure what this is about. We're just talking about like the glory of this stuff.
I think the weather, and we talked about this, like your environment is very inspirational to a lot of the music that you write, whether you're conscious of it or not. And this to me just seems to be some sort of celebration of winter in places of silent worship, in temples of glacial shadows. You know, that's probably a hyperbolic way of talking about what the place looks like after a snowfall or something like that.
Do you
in shrines of old, in frost and cold, tombs lay still in woods forlorn.
Do you think this part, silver dagger, silver flesh, my child of Mercury, your time has come, finally rise? Do you think that is basically winter laying claim to the deaths of people that are taken by it?
Well, we do have some intel from Middle. 9-song concept album that the band considers to be one 44-minute song.
Okay.
Yes, concept about the Horned Lord. Horned Lord of the Throned Castle. So, there you go. That's the Horned Lord. I don't know who that is. But, again, it does seem to be, as Controller's talking about, winter, cold, and solitude. Which, again, your environment dictates a lot of your art. And then we use technology to manipulate our environment, which then goes back into how we manipulate, how we do with our art. So that I'm definitely seeing. But Taffer's saying it's like a setup, some kind of ritual in the frozen temples. Yeah, and folks did back in the day bury their dead literally in the woods, like away from where everybody would, live. You do it in the outskirts and you do it out in the woods.
Yeah.
So that it was away enough, but close enough to you could, memorialize and all that jazz.
Yeah.
If the song is a concept record, I'm assuming that this song would kind of like be around the top, right? Like be around the beginning. See what I'm saying?
I mean, why?
Because it would be introducing. Because this seems to be more of an introductory. We're talking about the setting. You know how in creative writing where
set the
you
scene
have to
first.
write the setting and all that.
He just said set the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the setting. Or feeling the faces of the night, all that jazz. So it's a good introductory to it. Sonically, it was
it was so fun.
It's a pretty creative idea. I like when they get heavy. I definitely see like the metal side of it.
Track 4.
Yeah, pretty early on if they're doing 3 or 4 minute songs. I definitely like the sound. A little bit more power metal than black metal in my view, but definitely the heavy part was very, very, very fun. This is an 8.9 for me.
Shoot. Okay.
This is the second song on the record.
Okay.
All right.
You were right.
Good.
Look at that. Okay.
Good.
4 was a little bit too far away to make you right.
So the first song was probably like an instrumental or something like that, right? Then this is technically the first lyrical song on the record, so I'm pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I like the song. This score is a different scoreboard than the last song because the last song, like I said, I don't like it, but I thought that they did well. This one, I liked it. I enjoyed the song. And this one, if you were playing it in the car, I wouldn't be like, shit, I wish I brought my earplugs. This one, I'd be rocking. I'd be rocking with you. Yeah. So I'm going to give this one a 9.3, and I know that sounds worse, but it's on the good scale. It's not on the like, that's so trash, I'm never going to listen to it again scale. So 9.3 for this one for me.
All right, guys. The first song does have lyrics, but it's even shorter than this one. You guys should check out that record.
It's a 144-minute song, basically.
Then you're gonna be able to, tell see the story like in the full panoply, dear listener. We are coming right back with another song. Don't go anywhere. You guys know the drill. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Temporarily. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get matched down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. The child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. This is Finsterfost or Finsterfost. And the name of the song is Capital One Freiheit. So,
this is for the Epic Underground.
Inshallah, you guys, you can translate that for me. That's in German.
My guess is that it means freedom. That the name of the song is Freedom. That's a guess.
Why do you keep skipping Capital?
Because Capital, I thought, is the name of the. Oh, I completely missed this.
I keep telling you, Finsterfost.
I had it in my head that Cryptopsy was the name of the band.
This is the winner of our folk metal
and
poll.
I thought this was the name of the album, and that was the name of the song. That's why I separated it like that.
Finsterfost.
And wait, the leader of this alliance is our Chero. If you're interested in the alliances, jump on Patreon. Link is in the description. If you're not, stick around. Here we are about to read.
Joe Biden is on fire.
Oh boy, Joe. Joe.
I can't put his stuff on.
I know. I know. This is the winner of our.
Because I keep imagining Joe Biden saying it, and they're really offensive things. But then I feel like Joe Biden could say those things, and we would kind of let it go because you know what I'm saying. We continue.
Let's not go any more on that.
Shout out to our president. Shout out to the leader of the free world.
This is the what we get. This is the winner of our folk metal poll. Futter Frost hails from Germany, and their name translates to Dark Forest. This song was submitted by OCS Tripping. Thank you to Northern Scoundrel, aka Controller of Minds, for translating.
OSC Tripping.
What did I say?
He said OCS Tripping.
OSC Tripping. Thank you to Northern Scoundrel, aka Controller of Minds, for translating the German lyrics. Also, in case anyone nitpicks the translation, he asked me to remind everyone that neither German or English are his first language. So fuck you, motherfuckers. Just kidding.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that.
Soraya said that.
I added that in. Leave him alone. I edited it. I am the editor.
All right, here we go. Finsterfost, Capital One Freiheit. Let's do it.
Welten so weit, ein Leben voller Möglichkeit, entfesselt der Menschengeist, unendliche Freiheit. Der Menschheit größte Zeit, die Ära der Einzigartigkeit. Ein jeder von Zwang befreit, des eigenen Glückes
New metal, baby.
I never thought I'd say shout out to the Germans, but.
auf alles, was irgendwie anders ist. Das Befolgen starrer Dogmen, Glaube über Wissenschaft, die Verfolgung freien Denkens, Säbelhaft. Armut, Elend, Hungersnöte, Ausbeutung und Klassenkampf. Wir sind nur für Auserwählte, Ungleichheit und Prädestination.
Wow.
Holy smokes, man.
Wow. I was not reading the lyrics, but I was like, man, this song makes me think of like friendship and people coming together. And then you pointed out those lyrics at the end, and I was like, you could feel it in the song.
Yeah, that chorus. I caught the chorus at the end. The chorus, I think.
GOS. I'm guessing.
Was that the chorus? Controller. Today, everyone has meaning. Every voice counts. No one's left behind. The future of humanity is bright as the sun, a life and freedom and peace in the world. Utopia. Here, everyone is significant. All our voices fill the world. The future of humanity, we will decide in endless freedom. The utopia is real. Utopia, the era of freedom. Utopia.
From start to finish.
Brilliant song.
The chanting at the beginning was like moving, like it just like, oh my word, I love stuff that feels like it's got some deep roots in it. And I thought the whole song was gonna be like that, and then it kind of switched and there was something else, and I freaking love this song. I actually like enjoy just experiencing it. Like I glanced at the lyrics some, but then I just wanted to feel the song and vibe with it, and it had such a warm, sort of happy, like we're going somewhere vibe to it, and I think the language fit perfectly with the style of music.
Definitely a post-mill anthem for sure.
Yeah, it made me wish that we had like, okay, wouldn't this be like so great if we had if it was like a night where like all the villagers, we could all eat at this like one place where it was, the music was styled after the food that we were eating. So you're listening to this music and you're eating that stuff and you're drinking whatever they drink over there, and we're all together. It was just a cool thought. Yeah, okay.
It was a beautiful song. Bruno says Utopia by definition is not real. Sorry to be that guy.
That's why it said it is real at the end. For you, for people like you.
It's for you. It's for the non-believer. Sean the non-believer. Sean. A utopia typically describes an imaginary community or society that possesses highly desirable or near perfect qualities for its members. That was a really interesting discussion. I had somebody texted me at like 2 o'clock in the morning, or I looked at the text at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he was talking to me about why right-wing evangelicals don't like left-wing compassion policies, because they're trying to build a utopia without God or make people comfortable when which relies on the government to fix those problems instead of relying on God. And so that's the theological reason that they go against left-wing policies, because they perceive left-wingers as trying to create a utopia without God. And my response to that was that was a very elaborate excuse for selfishness on the side of evangelicals, because I have never heard left-wing politicians run on the utopia ticket. Like Bernie Sanders, when he was talking about Medicare for all, he never made it sound like this is going to create an American utopia. He made it sound like this is just common sense. Mm-hmm. You know, you think people should die of diabetes at 32? I don't think so. I think we can extend the Medicare payments for that generation, and then that person won't have to die.
Well done.
Okay, that's not a utopia.
Yeah.
That's, hey, maybe we can give an extra quarter.
Yeah.
So that your neighbor doesn't have to ration their insulin. That's not building a utopia. Mm-hmm. But it is.
That's still survival.
I have heard that, though, from evangelicals about this whole utopia thing. Oh, yeah. It got trotted out a bunch.
And that's why they don't go with those types of plans? Is that reasoning?
It was one of those things where it was like, well, yeah, we know there are problems, but you're never going to have a utopia until Jesus comes back, which, by the way, is not really biblical. That's not true. It's not true that everything is going to be hell in a handbasket, and then there's going to be like 5 Christians on the planet, and the church is going to be so weak that we fail so miserably that Jesus has to come back and rescue us because his bride was so incompetent.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think
he
the
prayed
church
for us in John 17.
I think the church is actually going to be successful.
Yep.
in the mission that Christ sent her on. And as such, things that we're calling utopic should actually just become
regular
life.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the message in, the Old Testament, where it says that the people were so rich that Solomon made silver as common as a stone on the ground.
That's right. Yeah.
Like that's the existence where, you could look at that and say, oh, silver is as common as stone on the ground. You could look at that and say, wow, those people were really rich. Or you can look at it and say, that was a society that was oriented away from capital. The capital was equivalent to a rock, because that's a society that's ordered around what's important. But we have been so inundated with the capitalists that we can't even perceive of an economic reality in which you don't have this ridiculous unequal distribution of wealth or poverty. So what ends up happening is the people who are not being completely ruined by the dystopia then turn around and accuse the survivors of the dystopia of trying to create a utopia.
Come on.
When in reality, it is the evangelical Christians who should be the naive utopians in a given society.
Yeah, you're right.
You're the one that's saying that you believe somebody died and rose from the dead 3 days later. It's your secularist friends that are looking at us, rightly so, like we're from the planet Pluton. So if there's anybody that should be naive about utopic conditions, it should be Christians. But you know what? Funny thing happened on the way to the voting box. It's the leftists, secularists, who are saying we can do better than this, and it's the right-wing evangelicals that are saying no, we can't.
Jeez.
So the people that should be completely cynical are saying, hey, we can do something to help each other. And the people who are supposed to be completely naive and Pollyannish are saying, nah, this is my money. So it's a very, very, very interesting kind of flip.
How do you think that happened? How did that happen to us? Where we care so much about money as a people over human beings, like, because obviously, like, everything that we read,
as an evangelical Christians in America?
We as an evangelical Christians, it's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, how did that happen?
Evangelical Christians have the state cult in evangelicalism is almost right next to God, and you can know that because in a lot of these evangelical churches, you'll see an American flag in the church. Yeah. And technically, the American flag is supposed to be above. Usually there's a flag of the cross or something like that. But the American flag is supposed to be, even in the church.
I'm not going to lie. When I was in church, sometimes I would join up in the worship team, and I was standing by the American flag, worshiping.
There's no distinction in the mind.
I didn't think it was weird, though.
Because Americans don't understand that they're part of an empire. So if you don't understand that you're part of an empire, all these pledges to the state then take on a certain kind of view. So we know when you see a bunch of Hitler Youth doing this thing, we know, holy shit, they're part of an evil empire. What are they doing? But then you see a bunch of American kids doing this. I mean,
what's the
difference?
Yeah.
The difference is that little kid that was doing the Hitler Youth thing, by the time he grew up, all that shit was over with. When we were doing this shit, when we came of age, we killed way more people than our parents did. And I'm specifically talking about my generation. Jeez. When I was doing this shit, the people that were teaching us had no bodies. Okay? My generation, we caught all the bodies. So we don't understand the even capacity of human beings to live in a utopia because the standards are so low here in America.
Yeah.
It's like people are okay with people in their 30s dying of preventable diseases. We're okay because it's not going to happen to us. People are okay with uninsuring their neighbor. And it's like, I understand the gun thing because the gun thing is a giant mystery, and I the only solve that I have for the gun thing is mental health. And now you're starting to see people, and this is not a dig against left wingers because right wingers because I'm about to go out to left wingers in a second, but like,
right, Ian.
It just seems to me to be a lot of we have to be realistic about things, but we're only realistic about things that affect other people. They weren't saying that when it was like lockdown time and when they thought that their rights were being infringed, they weren't saying, we'll wait for Jesus to come back to give us our rights. We weren't saying that then. We were just like, so like the song is it starts off during the Dark Ages. Go ahead.
Controller says the reality of capitalism, profit above all. I understand capitalism and that it's profit above people, but I'm saying from our religion, that's not how it's supposed to be. From the very beginning, we're taught that people are made in the image and likeness of God, and that they have value apart from everything else, and that the love of money is the root of all evil. And so when you love money more than you love people, then you are going to do evil things. And I'm saying, like, I saw, like, if you look in the early church, like you had the Pharisees and stuff where they would charge these people so much money when they came to go and do their sacrifices because the people could not travel with an animal. So they had to buy it when they got to the city. And they knew that. So they would overcharge them at the gate of the church, which is why Jesus came out and, friggin' wrecked the shop because he was so angry that they were doing this. These people were coming for forgiveness. These people are coming to wash themselves before their God. And you're going to bleed them out for that. So my thing is, like, we know that. So what happened to the Christian church in America that we are so, like, money is... I remember political discussions in churches that I've been in, and a lot of it is about taxes. There wasn't a lot about, like, how can we get Medicare? How can all that? Like, what happened?
With the kids in cages?
Oh, I know.
The evangelical response was we should have followed the law. We're talking about kids now.
I said they're children.
Didn't matter.
They should have followed the law.
So like,
okay, but you're not going down to the town office to get your paperwork to add that bathroom to your place.
We need to lean on the secularists to give us some moral compass for how we need to treat immigrant children. Because even though even though AOC was full of shit when she did that stunt, and then Homegirl, the crazy one from MSNBC, even though they were crazy because she'd act like she was crying and shit, and so she couldn't finish it. Like, we have to go to commercial. Like, even though both of those people were full of shit, at least they represented the appropriate emotion. Mm-hmm. At least represent the appropriate emotion of what's supposed to happen when you see somebody in that kind of circumstance.
Mm-hmm. But the fact that you can't means you're really far gone.
That's what I'm saying. The heart has been completely Americanism. It's not even capitalism. It's Americanism. And Americanism is something completely... It's related to, but it's something a lot more deep-rooted and insidious than just capitalism. So Americanism is what's really seeped into the church. So, this song is really deep. And, they talked about the Dark Ages, the Eons of, the Eons of darkened times, I'm assuming would be the Dark Ages, from violence and barbarism, arbitrary power structures, slavery, hatred of everything, most especially distrust, infamy and enviousness, blindly following hollow idols, suppression of truthfulness. I mean, good night. Here we go. The fellowship of strict dogmas, faith over science, the persecution of free thought, generalization, poverty, distress, hunger, exploitation, class struggle, knowledge only for a chosen few, inequality and predestination over and out, finally overcome. What's fascinating about this is that obviously he's applying this to the church. But I'm sorry, secularists, this is all you guys now. All this Davos stuff for the super elite meet in Europe. I was just watching one of these things and they were complaining. They said the media used to be ours. And now the plebes they literally, every year they have these meetings and they say the craziest shit, but they're like that's what they call it, plutocracy. These guys are so high above everybody that they have no concept of how they sound to like the humans on the ground level. So like these are all secularists, but these are all godless secularists, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm right. These Davos people, they were complaining yesterday. They're like, yeah, man, we used to own the media, And now the plebes, they've got, you know, all these, and it's like now we have to tell them what our sources are. We have to be transparent.
Really?
Yeah.
What are the plebes?
Yeah.
Are they talking about like the YouTubers and stuff that have gotten in there and brought
people
everything
that they
out?
could influence. Yes, people that they used to influence.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean by plebes. Like, who do they feel took the influence? Is it like the YouTubers and stuff?
The fact that the technology evolved so that we could have outlets like Rising, Jimmy Dore, all these other people. All these alternative forms of media. So she was like, usually back in the day, if you said, we said something, that was it. New York Times, that was it. Now we have to validate all this shit.
Life must be so hard for you.
Read this again.
Wow.
Strict dogma, faith over... Let's talk about... We're really going to poke motherfuckers in the eye now. Let's think about COVID. Let's think about the CDC, and I'm going to read this again, and you tell me who this defines. The church or secular institutions? Let's look at it again. The fellowship of strict dogmas, faith over science, the persecution of free thought, generalization, poverty, distress, hunger, exploitation. You know how you wouldn't let people work? You sent them home and told them that they couldn't work? Class struggle, knowledge only for a chosen few. You know how you guys wouldn't release certain reports because people weren't ready to hear it? Literally, they said that.
Also because there wasn't enough masks.
Inequality and predefinition over. Yeah.
Wow.
That was the secularists that did that in 2020. That was faith over science. Why weren't they telling us to eat a bunch of zinc and vitamin D? That's what the science is telling us. Why were they talking all this shit about ivermectin when all over the fucking world ivermectin was looked upon as a miracle drug? I don't have a problem with criticizing Christianity. I just did it for specifically our Christianity for the first whatever. But I'm going to call the shit like I see it. The secularists who are currently running our society are functioning like the Catholic Church functioned during the Dark Age. You can't question them. You can't contradict them. I can show you guys right now a strike that I got over on my other channel for quoting the fucking CDC.
The CDC. Unbelievable. And they never took that back down. They didn't, you know.
So listen, man. COVID was a test case as to how secularists handle these threats. And balancing out the concepts like metaphysical concepts like rights are extremely difficult to balance out with other concepts like a pandemic. And this is, to me, it demonstrates one of the clear flaws in a modernist world where God has no place. Because the minute you say God has no place, that automatically means that human beings are no longer the top priority because we're supposed to be the image of God on the earth. So that means we're the top priority. That means you have to treat a human being a certain way that you don't treat other animals. But if you take that concept away and just give all the power to the secularists, you have nobody goes to work, everybody wears a mask, it doesn't matter what it says, it doesn't matter what this says. We rule, we say it, you can't question us. You know it was true. You know you couldn't question shit in 2020 about none of this shit.
Nope.
And it's 2024, and I'm still getting hits on this shit in the back end. So, this shows us that the drive to control people, the drive for you to be God, however that manifests itself, is not, you cannot find the locus of that in religion, and you cannot find the locus of that in irreligion or secularism. I am not saying that the secularists mishandled the campaign because they're secularists. I am saying the secularists mishandled the COVID situation because they're human.
Yep. And they're going by what their policies are. That's who they are.
Correct. American evangelicals are mishandling the health crisis, not because they're evangelicals, but because they're human. Most secularists are secular humanists. That means that they handle the COVID situation in the opposite to the principles of secular humanism. Most Christians are supposed to be some form of humanist or Christ-like, and we are handling the healthcare situation opposite to our value of Christ-likeness.
Yes.
And
I mean, Christians are the ones that got hospitals.
Correct.
It was our, so we should be the first ones on the front to be like, this needs to be for everybody. Correct. Like I remember when we were working with the homeless and stuff, and so many of them had such bad teeth and excruciating pain inside their mouths. And then they would just go and just end up taking all of their teeth out. And they were way too young to have no teeth. And I would ask them, like, why don't you go to see the dentist? And they would say they didn't have any coverage. They didn't have any, like, healthcare. And I'm like, man, you know, like, yeah, some of these people were making really bad choices for their life. But we should just let them rip their teeth out of their face. Like, they have some perfectly good teeth, and then they have some that aren't good, and we're not going to try to help them in that situation. We're just going to take out all their teeth and just let them gum their way through life the rest of the way. Why? Why do we have to be like that? Like, I wish that we would move things forward.
That's why I like the song, because the song was talking about a time period where maybe we could get there.
Yeah,
and I believe we're going to get there. I believe we're going to get there. But we're not going to get there if we don't talk about how far away from there we actually are.
Yeah.
And if we don't all define what there is and where we're all trying to go. Do all of us really want an environment where nobody gets left behind? Think. Do all of us really believe, controller, do you want a world where all human beings are valued equally? All human beings are valued equally. Because I have never heard a leftist articulate that. I've never heard a right-winger articulate that either in any practical level. Because if you listen to right-wingers talk, Mexican kids, immigrant kids, and definitely little Muslim kids are not equal. And if you hear secular leftists talk, definitely little babies are not equal and do not deserve any rights.
Yeah.
So, look. Listen to this thing from the beginning. I went after my own people first. My point is, all of us suck. If we truly want the utopia, we have to start. One of the reasons we can't get to a utopia is because we cannot define what a utopia is. That's the problem. You can't define what a utopia is. My utopia is very simple. It's a place where if you're a human being, you have all the rights and privileges of Elon Musk. That's my vision. If you're a human being, if you're a Homo sapien, you get all the rights and privileges of Elon Musk. So 90% of the people in this room cannot even sign on to that. And that's the reason why we're so far away from utopia.
I think you're right.
I'm right. The song is an 11, damn it. And it's 11 because I'm going to keep listening to it. And every time I get upset or whatever about my own bullshit or what I see in the world or evangelicals celebrating some shit that they should be crying about, I'm going to listen to this song.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to this fucking song and inshallah, you know, we do our best and maybe Delaney's generation can figure this shit out for us. I mean,
Delaney.
Shout out to Delaney. No pressure.
Yeah.
what do you think of this song?
You know, I have hope for that stuff too because, you know, people used to say that with our generation. You know, they're like, oh, here comes these young people. Maybe they'll do something. But here's Delaney up here in this chat learning about this stuff when there's a million other things you could be doing that's just like literally, you know, wasting your time. So, you know, the fact that she is interested in learning and growing and stuff, it's exciting, you know. I definitely love this song, start to finish. I thought it was great. You know, the chants all the way to the very ending note. And I'm a fan. I liked this one. This is an 11 for me as well.
I don't believe that utopia is against change. If you say here's my clearest definition of utopia. A utopia would be where the ceiling is the floor. In other words, right now the floor is in America, hey man, if you don't have health insurance, you could die. That's the floor. The ceiling is, if you're Elon Musk and you have a toothache, you're going to get taken care of, right? Mm-hmm. Like immediately. Matter of fact, you're going to have so many resources that the doctor's going to come to your place. That's the ceiling, right? What I'm saying is in a utopia, the ceiling is the floor. Okay? So if the ceiling was the floor, then there would be incredible evolution. There would be incredible change. Once you have that as a baseline, then humanity would take off.
Imagine all the jobs that would open up.
Right, all the crazy things we'd create. And again, if everybody got Elon Musk and Elon Musk privileges, imagine how many we'd be at Mars already.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to look at him, be jealous of him, angry at him, hate him, be happy when his rockets blow up. Like, why would you even celebrate somebody's failure? What I'm saying is, we could create a society where everybody has the opportunity to experiment and do everything that they were supposed to do and max out what their potential is as a human being if our floor was our ceiling or our ceiling was our floor.
Yeah,
if that
and
makes any sense.
I think the other thing too, when you see people that are in a bad place and they're not taking care of their health because they like sometimes people get to a point where they think nobody cares and nobody even like we had this one person that got injured and you know our friend Shannon was helping him and like when she was washing his hands because he had gotten so injured, like he was confused looking that he was like it almost seemed like he hadn't had care or like physical touch, like a loving physical touch in such a long time. And I'm like, man, how many people are walking around without any love or care for them? And even if they were in that situation, at least if they could get their teeth fixed or their health taken care of, like you could go into the healthcare and get care. Like that might jumpstart them to start taking better care of themselves. But when nobody cares and there's no way you can get yourself out of that pit, now your teeth are all out of your face and you're sick and you don't have any help and it's just kind of discouraging. And why can't we give people these basic things? Mm-hmm. You know, there should be a place for homeless people to shower for nothing. You should be able to get a shower. Like they have to sneak showers and try to find ways in to kind of...
The real thing would be addressing why you have homelessness in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? People take that verse, "The poor you'll always have among you," as like a Jesus was eternally declaring that there'll always be poor people. And I don't think that that's what he was saying in that text at all. As a matter of fact, there's stuff in that text that makes me believe that that's not the case.
What do you mean?
Well, first of all, "the poor you'll always have among you" is a quote from the Old Testament in Deuteronomy. Okay. The text says, "the poor you'll always have among you." So basically, always keep something extra so that you can give to somebody else. But the very next line is instructive. He said, "the poor you'll always have among you, but you will not always have me." Mm. Okay, that means he's talking about a specific reality for them. Yep. That is not a declaration that poverty will continue for all eternity. It doesn't mean poverty will... You cannot prove from that text that Jesus thought poverty would continue perpetually. All you can prove from that text is that in the lifetime of the disciples, poverty would continue. But that doesn't say anything about what happens 2,000 or 3,000 years in the future.
That just shows what's actually in their hearts, that they don't want to help. Because you would use a verse like that and you would say, well, they're all poor is always going to be among you, so what are we going to do? Or there's always going to be war in the Middle East, so that's it. Like, you don't want to do anything to help those
evangelicals
people.
Repeat some of the crazy. The Bible says there'll always be war in the Middle East. Yeah. Jesus never said that. Jesus never said there would always be war in the Middle East. That's just completely completely untrue. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's these things that and this is, again, one of the issues that happens. Like, we're taught to believe this stuff as Christians, and we're not understanding that if you imbibe this stuff, it has real ramifications. Yeah. It does have ramifications as to how you vote, who you vote for, who you perceive the good guy is, who you perceive the bad guy is, what to do, how to be Christ in a particular situation. Like, there's a lot of really, really, really destructive shit that American Christianity has foisted upon the world, that once that version dies and it's dying and it's on life support, bless God, I think a lot, John MacArthur's death, Radiallahu anhu, but John MacArthur's death is going to mark a real
That's crazy, dude.
transition point away from that kind of thinking, bless
God.
God.
So crazy.
No, I mean, look, I hope the guy goes on to his reward. I believe he's a Christian. Your work here is done, John.
Or what would be better is if he repented now, and then he could say to all these people, "This is some madness that I've been putting out here."
I mean, I don't believe people need to have perfect scores. I think John MacArthur has done a lot for the gospel. I also think that he has done a lot of harm to a lot of people, and when he dies, I hope the paradigm dies with him, and I think it really will. I really do. We got one more song for you, beautiful people. I gave this song an 11. Yeah, I gave this song an 11. It was
11
great
across the board.
I hate giving out so many scores like this at the beginning, but
what can be done?
Nothing can be done. We got one more song, dear listener. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/FinStory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, and y'all shall leave them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Shout out to all the beautiful people in the house.
Sadie, I'm so sorry, but it was. She said Christianity is on its way out. It's literally never going to go out. It's
We've had this discussion before where China, the most
persecuted place.
The nation that's about to inherit the earth, the next superpower that's in contention with us. You know the reason why we're starting all these other things, because we're gearing up to try to go up against China, because we don't want them to be a superpower. China is going to be a Christian nation by 2050. So Western people who believe that their small segment of the world is like the be all end all, think that if something is happening in the Western world, that's a harbinger for the whole world. Newsflash: Christianity did not start in the West.
Nope.
And none of the major players came from the West.
No.
We need to stop China. Yeah, the country that everybody's predicting is going to be the next superpower is going to be a Christian nation, and not to mention all the shit that's happening in the Islamic world with Christianity as well. No, I think we're doing okay. I think for all the reasons I spoke about in the previous song, God is behind the decline of Christianity in the West.
Yeah. You can't go against his decrees like that, and I mean, like, treat people like that. Right at the beginning, like Genesis 1:26, like that's right at the very, 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 very beginning. It says that people are made in the image and likeness of God. He made them both male and female. So men, women, all of us are made in the image and likeness of God. That elevates all of us to like top tier. And if you're going to treat people like dirt and not care about them and just, send the poor off and say, well, the poor will always be among you. Use Jesus's words like that. Yeah. So you can have your own selfish desires be on the front burner. Here's
Boston University, the bastion of Christian thought.
Oh, no.
What's behind the boom of Christianity in China? Theology scholars and a global network of researchers are using big data to map religion's history in China and explain its rapid growth.
We don't need big data. We
China is currently persecuting the hell out of its Christian populace, and the Christianity there is exploding. So shout out to everybody who's mourning the death of Christianity in the world.
Yeah, there's more going on. It's not just America. I heard this description one time that basically, like, when the persecution is compared to a fire, that basically the devil walks up to the fire and he sees the fire going, he wants to put it out, so he kicks it and it just lights all the dry grass around on fire. Like, that's what persecution does in Christianity, is it spreads it like wildfire. It doesn't actually end up.
Yeah, man, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church.
Yeah.
There's Sadie. If you think Christianity is going to be Christianized by 2050, you're not realistic about their culture. Well, Sadie, I didn't say it, right?
Thank you, Skylar.
I didn't say it. These are anthropologists that are saying this. This is not my opinion. And now you're an expert on Chinese culture as well. I didn't know that. I don't know anything about Chinese culture. Maybe you can educate all of us. You know a lot about a lot of stuff, Sadie, I gotta tell you. You know a lot of cultures, man. You're like a universal, like you know a lot of shit, bro. I don't know anything about Chinese culture, so help us out. When were you in China? No, I'm just saying. She says I don't know anything about Chinese culture.
I know. We just posted.
I'm going by Pew Research. I'm going by you know, Boston University. They're saying that. I'm not saying it, but go ahead.
Come with your facts. Go ahead.
Where's your facts?
Look, facts don't care about your feelings.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, you know what? Here's the Telegraph. And you know, guys, I always say, like, when I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong.
Don't get that in there, okay?
Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
When I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. Okay. Here's the Telegraph. Because I said by 2050. China on course to become the world's most Christian nation within 15 years.
That
was in 2014. So I was wrong. The number of Christians in communist China is growing so steadily that it's by 2030 could have more churchgoers than in America.
Wow.
That's 6 years from now. In 6 years, they're going to have more churchgoers than Americans.
It's growing faster than you thought. You said 2050, right?
Yeah, I was wrong. That's wrong.
That's a decent thing to be wrong about.
All right, guys. Shout out to Donald Trump. Nobody knows more about anything than me. I know a couple people like that, bro. They know a lot of shit. Holy hell. You don't know anything about it. Here we go. Primal Fear. Fighting the Darkness is the name of this song.
Yeah, but Sadie, I mean, that's just...
This is our
spend time with a single family, and that tells you what all is happening in all of China?
I've got all these scholars. Sadie hung out with some people, and now she knows all about Chinese culture. She's incredible, bro. This is the winner of the Epic Underground Secret Santa poll.
Oh, because this was supposed to be the first one.
Zarchero.
Turns out
we each randomly drew the name of another member and submitted songs to the poll we knew that each person would like. Misery, man, this dude Misery Biz is everywhere.
Yeah.
Misery Biz chose the winning song for OSC, Trippin'.
Okay.
Who's been trying to get a reaction to this song for a very long time. Primal Fear is a German power speed metal band.
Okay.
Fighting the Darkness is their epic power metal ballad.
Okay.
Power metal, but I will listen. Let's see it.
But ballad was in there.
Primal Fear. What'd you say?
But the word ballad is in it, so it's not just, you said power metal?
Yeah. Ballad. It's a power metal band.
Yeah, so it's going to maybe have a different edge to it.
Okay.
What's up, EE?
All right, and the dude was a fantastic vocalist. Well, I'll be the judge of that. Helen Dross. Let's go. still going.
Wow.
It's still going, but this sounded
Oh,
like it
shit.
came from like the 80s.
Yeah.
See
Oh,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
would be, which is why I was so annoyed with that middle. What was up with that middle?
Why would you put that in this song?
Just somebody was listening to Dream Theater, bro. Listen, this vocally speaking, bro, like this was like incredible. It was very accessible. Some people call it cheap. I don't care. I looked at the date because I'm like, yo, this sounds like one of them like hair band songs. Hair bands where like you don't want to admit that you like them because like hair bands, you're supposed to make fun of hair bands. You're supposed to be metal.
I'll admit I like
bands. But they got them crazy choruses that go all over the place. You see what I'm saying? And then you did all this crazy shit in the middle. Why? I'm so happy that we have iMovie. I'm just gonna take this thing in iMovie. I'm just gonna cut that part out and just squash them together.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Can't you agree with me, dear listener, that it was a little bit excessive?
And it didn't. Okay, I don't know if I just heard that middle what I would think of it, but it did to me. It didn't fit the rest of the song. Like the rest of the song, it was inspiring. Like.
Hell yeah!
You know, I'm fighting the darkness within me. Can you hear my call? Feel like I'm frozen under my skin. I mean, and then you had that middle where it was like, well, hold on a second, hold on.
Trump. It was very good, not the best, not as good as whatever I can make, but pretty good. I give it a 9 out of 10. Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. We got some people here that know everything, know every culture on the planet. Okay, and I mean, I've literally been all over the world. Like I literally have been. But,
then you know everything.
But I don't know as many cultures as some people here. And then we've got Trump who said it wasn't. You ever see Trump though? Like when he tries to say that something is like in the middle, like something like is on a spectrum. Yes. He doesn't do very well when he's like talking about things.
Is it because he's trying to make stuff be like
if it's not black or white or left or if it's not like that, like he struggles with like articulating those things that are on the spectrum. No disrespect to Trump, I'm just saying like he kind of does do that. That was a very good one.
Do you think it's because he doesn't want to offend, or why do you think that is?
I think his mind doesn't work that way. I think things are pass fail, black and white for him.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know, yes, Mr. Trump, no, Mr. Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he has a hard time like with things that are like both and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skylar, that's completely true. I did not think the voice was going to come back on, and I was like waiting for it. I'm like, man, I don't want to get my hopes up that we're going to get to sing it again.
Oh, yeah.
And then it came, but you seem to think it was going to.
Nikki Haley's new theme song, "Fighting the Darkness Within Me." Yo. Hey, I'm going to keep my policy, bruh. I don't even think that's Middle America worthy. I don't even think it's Middle America worthy. Shout out to Nikki Haley.
I don't think that it changes the political world.
Okay, so I'm falling deeper. Weird. Help me. I'm fighting the darkness within me. Can you hear my call? Feels like I'm frozen under my skin. I'm forever lost. Here in the shadows and the twilight, life is eternal and my past is forsaken. I'm fighting the darkness. You know, one of the things, you can gauge a culture by the art. And I think it's really fascinating. And when these guys sat down and they said, we're going to make the ultimate ballad for this band. And we're going to talk our shit. It's amazing to me that this is what they choose to do. Fighting my own internal darkness. And the reason it's amazing to me because like this is their ballad. This is their major like. And apparently this is, hold on, let me read this to make sure, because somebody, I don't know if it was Archero, Misery Biz, Fighting the Darkness is their epic power ballad. So that's fascinating to me. They either purposely said, okay, we're going to make a giant radio hit, or what most likely happened was they were just writing and then people heard the song and it took off. But either way, why is that such a popular theme? This concept of fighting your own internal darkness. Why does that pop so significantly with people? Yeah,
I think it's super relatable. I think the answer's kind of right there and obvious, I think. I mean, I don't know. It just seems to me like we all have we all wrestle with it. We all know what it is to wrestle with it. Or some people don't wrestle with it, and then you get, you know,
There's a lot of people.
Cue Ball from song number 1, where he's massacring people in his kitchen, you know, like that's somebody who's not fighting his darkness. But I mean, you know, I think if you are fighting your darkness, like when he says like, I'm forever lost here in the shadows and the twilight, life is eternal and my past is forsaken. It almost sounds, it's weird because it kind of has like I see like a light and dark side of it. Like I see like it's eternal because like sometimes like when you're in like the bouts of your darkness, it feels like it's eternal and it feels like this is never going to give and I am never going to win. And life is eternal. My past is forsaken. Like everything is lost and I'm just fighting forever. But then there's the flip side of that where it's like, okay, you're fighting it. And when it said life is eternal, to me, that was like, we are more than what we are here on this earth. Like this earth we're here, but we're gonna go somewhere else. Like there is life that goes on beyond this. And so the life is eternal part for me was like, life is eternal. We're going on and our lives are more than what they are here. And so God will meet us there and he is eternal. And so he's going to help us get out of that darkness. Like, so it was like.
Well, life is eternal didn't seem to be a positive statement in this song.
Right. But that's why I said it was two sides. Like it was like
because he says, I'm fighting the darkness within me.
Mm-hmm.
When he talks about eternity, he says, I'm forever lost.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the shadows, and life is eternal, my past is forsaken, I'm fighting the day. So it looks to me like when he's saying life is eternal, that's a reference to him saying he's forever lost.
In that eternal state. He's forever lost in the eternal state of his darkness.
Right, but it could also be another way of saying that his depression is never ending in that sense. Because it starts off by saying due to this unlife.
Yeah.
See that right? So he's calling it an unlife, which is an invented word that we all know what it means.
Yeah.
So when he says life is eternal, I think he's talking about the unlife or whatever. But I think that's one of the major.
Oh my gosh! I won't let go and let it see my feet.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And let it see. Right. So like, it seems that he has this concept that he can't. I'm just watching Ian and hell. Ian just said, "Okay, Don Lemon." Shout out to Don Lemon. Yo, we might actually run into him.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about that offline. Okay. But like, I did want to harp on that though, because that's like that's a long. We used to play this game when we were kids. We used to ask these questions, and I asked my brother one time. I said, okay, we're in a desert. Let's say you have like 5 minutes left to live because you're dying of thirst. And then the clock runs out at minute 5, but you see, and you can verify that there's like a giant water bottle like 5 seconds away from you.
Yeah.
But that 5 minutes ran up. Would you die? So that was a question we used to like go back and forth with. Like, would you die? So let's say the clock is you are going to die of thirst at 5 minutes. That's the clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think no.
And the clock runs out, but then you see a water bottle, but it's going to get you 5 seconds past that 5 minutes. Would you actually die? And my brother would say, yes, you would die, because you said you would die after 5 minutes. Because there's got to be an objective endpoint, right, to where you would die of thirst.
Where even the water wouldn't bring you back. Yeah.
So I don't know, but for some reason, I would never believe that I would die. I would believe for whatever reason that somehow I would make it.
Yeah.
And like that's a really interesting, because then, you know, as later on things happen in my life and things like that, and you have like all these other, you know, like, but it my point is like, the song here, the real problem is the hopelessness that this guy has. Like, he's almost like consigned himself, like this is his fate. And he's fighting the darkness within him. And I'm not sure that darkness is a particular flaw, or if the darkness is the hopelessness itself that he's trying to fight.
Yeah, true, because he says at the beginning, I'm still determined not to break. I won't let go and seal my fate. But it does sound like he's just on the edge, where he's fighting the darkness, and he's not going to let it overtake him, but he's not going back to gain that ground. So, I mean, Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm gonna say though, in the desert thing, I gotta just go back into it because I thought it was an interesting question.
Yeah.
I say you're still gonna live. Have you ever seen those experiments that they do with rats? They put them in the water, and then they come and they pull them out after X amount of time, and then they put them back into the water. And if they do it once, it's mice or rats. If they just leave it there, it's gonna drown after a certain amount of time. But if you save it once, it's gonna fight for hours because of that one save. It's going to assume another save is coming. So my thought is you were going to dive after the 5 minutes because you believed like it's over with. But you see the hope, and hope changes everything.
That was my thought process. That was my thought process on it. So, but that has a lot of implications about like, okay, so is living and dying an objective reality, or how much of our influence? Yeah. You know, the whole mind and matter, the psychosoma, the relationship between those two phenomena. I think we as a human, like, collective are still trying to figure out how that works.
Yeah.
You know, between... Jason, I know you're kind of new. This is kind of the humor, right? Like, we're all jealous of Dwayne and, you know...
Right.
Sorry, you know, like, there's a reason Dwayne's got 3.5 in his thing, so, like... If we're saying we're jealous of Dwayne, like it's nobody like means any harm. Like it's just kind of like the sarcasm, you know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, everybody's just playing. Yeah.
It's just part of the fun.
Well,
like
yeah, like he's saying, part of this is
it's
when
how
you're here
you
with
know
us
you
for a
belong.
long time. Yeah, when you were here with us a long time, there's different jokes that are going to happen along the way that you'll get in on, and then you'll know what's up. So you're kind of jumping in the middle of stuff. But if you hang around long enough, it'll all start making sense to you, and you'll see how much Dwayne brags about, you know, stuff being always about him and his beloved Beatles.
Dwayne has written a lot of music, so he'll let us know. All right, back to our regular scheduled program. Yeah, so like I initially thought the darkness was some sort of flaw that he had as a person.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm thinking the darkness within him is the hopelessness itself.
Yeah.
Doomed to this unlife.
I agree that you switched it for me. I 1,000% agree.
He's like, okay, I'm not going to break. I'm not going to let it seal my fate. But then at the same time, he says, life is eternal. My past is forsaken. I'm forever lost. That type of thing. So he doesn't, you see what I'm saying? Like he's conflicted.
Yeah.
All that's left is the poison in my veins. Deep inside, I'm going through a change. And so I thought that this was a real... It's one of the things... And I always hear this... I always cringe when I hear new Christians give their testimonies. Because it's always like, blah, 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 blah. And I used to struggle with this. And then I prayed to God, and it left me. And everybody starts, praise God, and all this. And it's like... Yo, I believe that happened to you, bro. But that does not mean that everything follows like this linear track.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And like that, we were having a family discussion like we always do the 15-year-old? He said he wouldn't have a problem with loving somebody who had a past. And then he said, but that past better stay in the fucking past, he says. And I said, oh, it's like that. So you're gonna be with a girl even though she had a past, and that's great. Like you feel like you're like some great understanding person. But it better stay in the past. And I was just explaining to him like, yo, if you think that a person's bad habits, like that a person can like gain victory over them in the sense that they never have a repeat of that situation again, like you're crazy. Because that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Even if a person has truly and totally overcome their past, whatever that is, that does not mean that there are not going to be times when that thing doesn't rear its ugly head and pop up again. And it's not your job. It's not our job as Christian husbands to be like, that better stay in the past.
And it's like you said, like when you do that and you're like, if it's going to stay in the past and you put all of that pressure on it, then the person is more inclined to not say, hey, this is a problem. You know, that's kind of one thing that you one of your many good qualities, but that one is one for sure. You're very good about being gracious to people on what their flaws are or their whatever. So it does keep the door open for saying, hey, this. before that thing happened. Yeah.
You have to be realistic. And the other thing too is, especially as Christians, like a lot of times, especially when you really start getting serious and you get in church and stuff, like in our context, people were comparing themselves to other people. We had a bunch of new Christians.
Gosh.
We had a bunch of new Christians, and it was difficult to explain to people what was happening to them. You know, to where it's like you get into this new reality and this new understanding of things, and like you want to get to a certain place, but you've been living this way for X amount of time, and they just want to be here immediately. Like they want to get like almost raptured to perfect sanctification.
Yeah.
Or be perfectly like Jesus,
Yeah.
or to handle situations the way that people who've been walking with Jesus for 40, 50, like it's not going to happen. And so like you are going to have that struggle and that internal contradiction. Like people need to be good with internal contradictions within themselves. Like your theology cannot have contradictions, fine. But you as a person, should expect to be a contradicted person, especially if you're a Christian, because you're saying that you've got this new nature that's at war with an old nature, blah, 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 blah. So when that happens, yes, like for example, like if you're doing jujitsu, there's a certain moment where the person has lost the match because they made a mistake. You know, it's like, I want to get this guy in a Kimura. I'm going to leave my arm out here. He's going to go for it. The minute he goes for it, the fight's over. Because I'm going to, you know what I'm saying?
That one's happened so many times.
And it happens. And people think I'm doing it quick. I'm not being quick. It's just that I know what you're going to do because I've done it. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like, the minute that the guy did that and shifted his weight, that's when the fight was over. But I had to complete it.
Yeah.
Right? And so
you had to convince him.
From the outside looking in, phenomenologically, you'd say, oh, these guys are pretty much equally matched. As a matter of fact, the guy at the bottom looks like he's in trouble because his arm's down. Right? And so it's like that's what happens. Like on the one hand, like a change has truly decisively happened to you. But on the other hand, from the outside looking in, it looks like you're not making any progress. When in reality, that moment of the decision for Christ, the game was over.
Yep.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good forever.
Yep.
You're guaranteed that in 10,000 years, you're going to look so much like Jesus that it's going to be indiscernible. You're guaranteed that victory. But from the outside, the wrestling match has to play itself out. Even though the opponent lost, it still has to get played out.
Right.
Right? And so that's how I look at it. So from that perspective, you should expect a contradiction.
Yeah.
You should expect,
that's true.
I am completely and totally loyal to Christ. However, I still struggle with this. I still fight that. I still do this. Yada, 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 yada. I just go from the perspective of I've already won. So I've already won because of Jesus. So even if I lost today, I'm just paying possum because tomorrow I'm going to fuck you up. Like that's literally how I handle it.
Yep.
But however you handle the darkness, I don't care what your paradigm is. It doesn't matter what your paradigm is. Christian, atheist, secular, whatever. As long as you can find a way to let yourself off the hook on the one hand and redouble your efforts to killing that problem on the other hand, you're going to be okay for a while. Okay? You do this shit without Jesus. You try to do self-improvement without Jesus. I don't know. Look, I'm ignorant about that stuff. I don't know.
Oh my
okay?
word.
I'm trying to do self-improvement with Jesus, and it's difficult. Y'all some superhuman.
It's impossible.
Y'all are superhuman. But the
because
point is,
you can only get to a certain point, and you can't cross that point. You can only get to like the precipice, and you can't go.
The minute you miss that hope threshold, it's over. Whatever the situation is, the minute that you give up on that hope threshold, it's over with. And I think that's one of the beautiful things actually about jiu-jitsu that I wish people could do, because there's so many lessons about God that you will learn in jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Oh yeah. Even things like appearances.
Principles are everywhere.
Even like things like, oh, it appears this guy is losing.
Yeah.
Because one guy is on top and he looks like he's really dominant. In reality, he's lost, and here's why. And you can like tell once you study it a little bit, you can tell that's when it happened. So whatever it is, you got to be able to live in that contradiction and accept the contradictions within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And once you accept the contradictions within because think about it, you have friends and you accept the contradictions within your friends. There's shit that your friends do that like violate your principles and their principles, but you overlook it and love them unconditionally. So just do that with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just depersonalize yourself from yourself, disassociate yourself from yourself, and look at yourself as a person that you're trying to be friends with and say, yep, that guy's full of contradictions, but I love him. And you know what? He fucked up today, but tomorrow he's going to do some shit that's the best thing in the world and nobody's going to know about it because he ain't going to tell a soul. That's just how it is. And that's how I function, man. And I don't care what you do, as long as you stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
as long as you keep up hope. Look, it's okay to recognize that there's darkness within you. It's okay to recognize that there's darkness outside. There's a hell of a lot of darkness outside. Watch the news. Matter of fact, don't watch the news. As long as you find a paradigm where you give yourself a break, you cut yourself some grace and do better next time, you're in good shape. What people usually do, though, is because they don't understand how grace works, they'll just say, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm a perfect person. I don't have any internal contradictions, blah, 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 blah. Okay? That's because they're trying to be nice to themselves because they don't have a paradigm for understanding how to deal with their own inner darkness and accept it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You just got to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Accepting it, there's like two different ways to accept it. You can accept it and just like, like, it is me, I am it, and you become that darkness. But I think that there's an acceptance that's different. That's like, okay, that is in me, but that is not me. And that's, you know, obviously I think Christianity is the only way to really recognize it that way, though, because you get a new nature. It's crazy. I know we don't usually listen to songs on the side, but the what's the name of that woman, the Machine one? Remember we listened to that song on repeat for a while. Then she came out with the song "The King" that Revo brought us onto, and I always thought that in that song "The King," I liked it, but I felt like that she was very like proud and stuff. Well, she has another song that I just found like a week and a half ago, and I think it's called like "Shake It Off" or something. But she says like basically like I'm tired of my graceless heart. And she said, tonight I'm going to carve it out.
Machine.
Yes, thank you, Sadie. She said, tonight I'm going to tear it out. Like, so she talks about her graceless heart. And she said that tonight she's going to carve it out and then restart. And I was like, holy shit, because she doesn't know that Ezekiel 26:36, or is it 36:26?
36:26.
36:26 says that God is going to give you a new heart and he's going to cause you to walk. He's going to take out the heart of stone and put in a heart of flesh. And so I was like, she's misunderstanding. She recognizes there's an issue with her heart. And so she's like, well, I'm going to pull it out. But you can't pull out your own heart. Only the one that gave you that heart can switch out those hearts and give you a heart of flesh and one that can actually feel and be. And I think a lot of us sometimes can walk around in this sort of numbness because we're just saturated in our own darkness. But that's the hope, you know, is that, you know, you ask God to give you that heart. Ask him to take out that heart of stone, that numb heart that can't feel, that can see what's happening to the kids in Palestine and just be like, well, you know, war is war, you know, whatever phrases that we come up with. Or, you know, like we talked about the evangelical Christians saying, you know, well, they've always been at war in the Middle East and stuff. Like they should have followed the law. Like these cold mindsets and these cold things that we say and feel. And yeah.
I do think, though, it's instructive to take that literally. Like, if you have a malignant tumor in your chest cavity or something like that, you do need somebody to get in there and dig that shit out.
Yep.
But if you did that shit yourself, you'll kill yourself.
Right. You'll bleed to death.
So if you try to change yourself by yourself,
Yep.
you will kill yourself.
Yep.
You need an actual surgeon that can get in there, make the proper incision, and replace that heart with a heart that's going to work. Because if you try to do it yourself, you're going to bleed out. And that's what happens with a lot of people, man. They look at themselves in the mirror and they go, yo, I'm a horrible person. I did this and that thing, blah, blah, blah. And then they say, I'm going to be the best person possible after this. And they do good for a month, man, because you can do that shit for a month. And then your nature comes back up against you. And then they destroy themselves, man. And then those are people that like jump off bridges or get really internal and become very, very, very dark people.
Yeah, I
think that's what I'd leave you with. Do not try to change yourself by yourself. If you're talking about real, deep, lasting change You're going to need a heart surgeon for that, my friend.
Yep.
Look, I don't know a lot of things, but I tell you that. I know that. I know that
100%.
the root of our problems are inside.
Yep.
It's not racism. It's not the government. It's not your parents. It's not fill in the blank. It's not the Republicans, the Democrats. Nah, bro. It's you, sis. It's you. You.
Oh.
Me.
Yeah.
I like the song. I'm going to give this one a solid 9.2.
I think the other thing, too, about like trying to carve out your own heart and do that surgery yourself is that when it doesn't work and you've put out that much effort, then hopelessness really sets in because you're like, what else can I do? Okay.
Yeah.
What else can you do? That's why you need a doctor. And Jesus, when he came, he said, look, I didn't come for the well. I came for the sick. So if you're sick and your heart is numb and you're all sideways, like there's a doctor for that. There is Jesus for that. And he can give you a heart of flesh and take out that heart of stone. So yeah, there doesn't have to be that hopelessness. If you're hopeless after that surgery, that's because you had the wrong surgeon.
Yeah, some of y'all are strong people. You can do this shit. You know, there's an old hymn, I need thee every hour.
Yes.
That's where I'm at.
Me too.
The rest of y'all very, very strong people. You don't need God. You don't need a crutch. You cool, bro. I'm not even mad at you. I'm not even jealous of you either, though. I'm weak. I need me some Jesus. Hey, 9.5. What do you give it?
I'm gonna say 9. No, this one was a 10 for me. I freaking love this one. I would have given it an 11 if they didn't put that silly instrumental in the middle. That one.
My people were tortured, raped, and killed until they accepted Christianity. Any advice for someone like me to not think it is a bunch of BS? Well, word list, that was a bunch of BS.
It was. And it is not Christianity.
Here's what I'll say. I do not want to say those people that did that to you and your family were not Christians.
Right.
That's not the real Christianity, yada, 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 which is, I don't know if those people were real Christians or not. Real Christians do horrible things. I've seen real Christians do horrible things. You know why? Because I've seen me do some horrible things.
Me too.
So I don't know if those people were real Christians or not.
I've seen myself. Yeah.
So I don't want to bail out the religion by saying that. I don't know if they were real Christians or not. Here's what I can tell you, though. Here's what I can tell you. Human beings have been killing each other, destroying each other, raping each other, pillaging each other since the beginning. There hasn't been a single society where that hasn't been a malady in human society. Now, there's a lot of explanations for why that is. I'm not even going to explain it. All I'll say is all of us recognize this about human beings. It does not take religion to kill people, and it does not take secularism to kill people. What it takes to kill people and impose your will on them is human nature. Something is deeply wrong with us. Now, I don't know what your paradigm is. I don't know what your moral structure is. But I can almost guarantee that even you would say, word list, that even according to your own moral standards, that you are not a perfect moral person. That you have hurt people yourself. So the question is not, how could those people have done that? Because we say, well, that's human nature. That's what human beings do. The real question is, how can I overcome my own darkness so that I don't become a person or become part of a group that does that to another group of people? Mm-hmm. And see, that's where I say Jesus is very necessary, because Jesus is coming with a solution to the root cause problem, which is our heart. Jesus says a good tree cannot bear bad fruit. He said, make the tree good and the fruit will be good. You make the tree bad, the fruit will be bad. So when Jesus showed up, he came and offered us the ultimate solution, which was all of us need to die. See, Hitler had an ultimate solution, which was those people need to die. Jesus came with an alternate solution that would said, all of you need to die. And you know how that's going to happen? I'm going to die in your place. I'm going to die billions of deaths. So that all of that shit goes into the ground with me, and then I'll come up as a new humanity, and you can rise with me, and we can work together so that people will never be raped and pillaged again. That's the message. That's the mission. Mm-hmm. I would say you're already halfway there, because you know that raping people and forcing them to accept a religion or accept a body part or whatever, you know that doing that shit to people is not right. That means that you believe that human beings have dignity. Great. So let's join the team and work on restoring human dignity for all human beings.
I think another important thing to recognize is, like we talked about before, that the people would have to go to Jerusalem for them to be able to do their sacrifices. And when they did, they'd have to buy the animals before they went in. And so the people that were selling the animals would overcharge them. And Jesus was super angry with the way that they were treating the people like this. Nobody was dying necessarily off it being, I don't know. I can't speak definitively, but it wasn't a direct death, I guess you could say. If they were too poor to eat on the way home would be. But Jesus was so angry that he took cords, and it was a very violent scene. He was very angry, and it was very obvious, and he went after those folks. And so I would say that when people are going out raping people made in the image and likeness of God, that enacts more anger from God than even the money situation. So if he was twisting over tables and turning whips all over this place and these people, I would assume, then in that situation is all God was angry when those women were getting raped and when those people were being treated that way. So when they came, especially in the name of Christ, and said that that's what they were doing and you had to turn to Christianity for that to stop, like God was angry with that. And he did enact vengeance on those people. I am sure of it. I would definitely say that for sure. He says, vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine, and I will repay. Yep.
I will repay.
Yep.
The Lord himself providentially opposes, conquers, and restrains the ferocity of our flesh by the medicine of the cross.
Woo!
He does this in ways that uniquely serve each believer's well-being. Shout out to John Calvin. God, Perkinos. You know, I'm going to start up a Lord of Spirits type podcast with Perkinos.
Oh my gosh. You guys should.
Yeah. Because
I'll serve drinks.
He is the Western Father Stephen to my Father Angel. For sure. Yeah, so think about it, Perk. Season 3. Listen to some Lord of Spirits. Maybe we could do some of that.
Yeah, check it out. It's really good. That stuff happen. Is like...
God is never angry at me. I am the greatest Christian that you've never seen before. I stand with the holy shepherds against some very bad people and evil wrongdoers.
My God. He sounds like he has, right? He is just...
Perk? Definitely. Okay, Friar Stephen. All right. All right, Perk. So think about it, buddy. That would be we'd have the greatest show of all time.
Yeah, you guys really would.
Shout out to homie for answering that question. I hate when people say those weren't Christians that did that. Blah 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 blah. You just can't say that. Christians have done horrible things, and I don't see how it helps a religion.
Yeah.
To abandon our brothers. Like, doesn't help anybody. Like, the religion is for sinful, bad people, so I would expect our history to be littered with horror. All I'm saying is, when Jesus said, repent for the kingdom of God is at hand, he told us the problem and the solution simultaneously. You're the problem. Repent. The kingdom of God is at hand. That's the solution. The problem is, if the kingdom of God comes in its fullness before all of us repent, he'll have to execute us. And that's why he waits. Because people like me and you are still around that need to repent, and he is not going to bring in a utopian existence until all of us get to where we need to get to, because he doesn't want to execute us. He's the God of the living, as the scripture says.
Our repentance feels really good too. Like when you just come clean with yourself. So, before God, I mean, no, there's no second greater feeling, I think, in all of anything than that.
9.
Right with your God.
Okay, so Fighting the Darkness, I'm going to give this a 9.8.
I'm going to... No, this one's a 10 for me.
Yeah, homie Dan, send me a text. You've been on my mind for the last couple days. We're going to have that conversation soon, inshallah. Okay. No, I'm not bumping it up to a 10 because of all the fluky shit they did in the middle, Ian. I can't do it, bro.
What?
They did a bunch of this song, Fighting the Darkness. They did a bunch of shit in the middle that was all dream theatery.
Oh wait, oh shoot.
I was rating the song.
Yes,
this is
I
the
know.
Last song
I forgot that they had that.
Vince started at 9.2, went to 9.5, then all the way up to 9.8. Yeah, I did.
10 for me.
I did. There you go. You don't remember this song? This is It's been a pretty long review.
Yeah, I thought the
Sorry
last.
for the long review.
I thought the last song before this one was the one where it had like that instrumental middle.
Nah, this is the Fighting the Darkness song. And we were like, yo, the song with the thing was the superpower.
And then it brought back well, I'm giving it a 10.
All right, guys. We're out
hold on,
here.
wait.
All right, guys. We're out of here. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.